Hello out there. My name is Kevin Bailey, and we are here tonight at Buffalo's with Classic City Sports Talk. Today, I'm sitting here today with Dr. Kip Matthews, a sports psychologist here in town, and we're just going to talk a little bit about exercise, how to start an exercise program, what is sports psychology, and just help people with some tips on setting some exercise goals and things of that nature that would help them, you know, right before Thanksgiving and the new holiday coming up, so that people don't start, you know, freaking out and worried about gaining the 10 pounds between now and New Year's. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I would like to just go ahead and open up and say it was nice to meet you.
Thanks for inviting me here on the show this evening.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. You're welcome. But I have a question. What is sports psychology?
Yeah, that's a question that a lot of people ask me. First of all, sports psychology is the scientific study of the psychological factors as it relates to sport, physical activity, and exercise. And really, sports psychologists, what they do is they really concentrate on, well, how can we improve the optimum health of the athlete, and how can we help athletes improve their performance on the field? But that's mainly what people think about when they think about sports psychology, but there's a whole other realm of sports psychology, which is looking at, well, how can exercise and physical activity be used to improve our well-being, our mental health, and so forth. So there's actually two big areas to sports psychology.
Good. Now, in saying that, and in sports psychology, I think we talked about this a little bit earlier, a lot of times people think that it's so removed from themselves. They think it's just for the professional teams, just for the pro athletes and the elite, so to speak, that would use a sports psychologist. But who are some of your clients? And
yes, over the years I've had a chance to work with a number of elite athletes at the collegiate level, the professional level, but I've also had a chance to work with youth athletes who play in Little League, who are playing youth soccer up through the high school level, and even people who are out there have normal day jobs like you and I, where they may be playing tennis on the weekends or maybe trying to improve their golf game. So it really runs the gamut. And I think one thing that has increased the exposure to sports psychologists over time has been the media publicity. That I first heard about sports psychologists for the first time actually in 1984 when the Summer Olympics were on TV there in Los Angeles.
Right.
And I thought, who are these strange people that I'm hearing about on TV? And I had no idea what sports psychologists were. And that was when I was an undergrad at UNC in Chapel Hill. And when I got back down to school that fall, I checked around, and I was lucky enough that actually one of the top sports psychologists in the field at that time was there at UNC. And so I called him up and said, hey, could I set up a meeting with you? And he said, sure. And I went down, and I said, so what is all this I keep hearing about? And so he explained a little bit to me about the field. And lo and behold, I said, well, how can I get into this? Because I'm not finding a major that I really enjoy and do well at.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I was tired of being undecided.
Right.
And he said, well, you need to, first of all, you need a double major in both psychology and physical education, and then there's a graduate school and all that. And so that's actually how I started off into it. And there's a field very similar to it that really had its origins, which was motor control and learning, but looking at how do people acquire motor skills, how do they learn how to hit a golf ball, how they shoot a free throw, and so forth. And then sports psychology in the early 70s was born out of that field, and also brought in a lot of knowledge and information from the field of actually educational psychology.
Right.
Because if you think about it, sports psychology is looking at how do we improve performance in a achievement domain, in this case the playing field or on the court or whatever. And but educational psychology is, again, another achievement domain. How can we improve performance in the classroom? And so a lot of the same principles and techniques that educational psychologists were using actually were the kind of formed the basis for sports psychologists in the early era of the field there.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. And as you were talking about, like, golf, I am a new golfer, so to speak, but one of the things is that when I get ready to, actually swing the club and hit the shot, there's a split second in my mind that says, okay, do not hit the water, or, don't shank it, or things of that nature. And when those things really set off in my mind, I find that's what I do. It's going in the water. I'm shanking it or it's not going to be a good shot. But when I just kind of go through, a pre-swing, nice and smooth, and just let my body take over, and then just go ahead and swing and hit the club. So would that be something that you all teach individuals as far as the mindset and how to carry over so that it becomes neuromuscular? The mindset to have is to remove the negative thoughts and things of that nature before you actually participate.
Absolutely. Jack Nicklaus was actually one of the first golfers to regularly use that idea on a regular basis. He would vow he would not hit a golf shot until he actually saw himself hitting it perfectly and landing it, where he wanted it to land. And until he saw that happening in his mind there, then he would not make the swing. And so that, a lot of times he would stand up over the ball or step back away from it. But then once he actually saw the actual path going through the air, landing on the fairway or landing on the green, then he would go ahead and execute that shot. There's a running joke between me and my father-in-law. We regularly play golf together, and over the years, there's this one particular hole that he gets at, and between the tee box and the fairway, there's a big pond, and so I'll joke with him and say, "Don't hit it into the water."
That's right.
And I know that just by suggesting that to him, there's a good chance he's going to knock it into the water. And 8 times out of 10, it's going to end up in the water. And he swears up and down he's not going to let me do that to him the next time. But,
Absolutely.
yeah, what's happening there is, you can see this in all aspects of our lives, just not on the playing field. We tell ourselves, don't stress out about that test. Don't worry about my presentation I have the next day.
Right.
When you tell yourself not to do something, then actually the unconscious part of your mind actually has to generate the idea of hitting it into the water or doing bad on a test in order to negate the sentence.
Right.
And so part of what sports psychologists do is, how do you turn that around, and instead of thinking about what to avoid, how do you change your thinking around to what do I actually need to do to execute it? I'm going to do well in this test. I want to relax instead of going to stress out. So
exactly. Oh, that's good. And that's very true, too, that negative suggestions, and really that's what's in your mind to do that, because that's what the brain is processing. But turning around and saying, I will do well, or I will hit a good shot, or I will make this putt, is all the difference in the world. Now, and we were talking about, we're going to talk a little bit about starting an exercise program. I'm a personal trainer, and I get a lot of questions.
Not anybody could tell.
Oh, yeah. A guy told me, he said, "Oh, yeah, I bet you tell people that's baby fat." I said, "Yeah, absolutely." But anyway, and I get a question. A person will come, and they'll say, "Okay, I want to get in shape. What do I need to do?" And they leave it at such. Or they'll say, "Well, I want to get in shape, but I don't have time to do it." And so if someone were to come to you, what would you advise them to do? As far as, okay, I don't have time and I want to get in shape, what would be one of the first things that you could tell that person in order for them to begin to make a decision to change or to start an exercise program? Because sometimes they've been debating, they almost want to see what you're going to say in order to make that final decision. It's like people will ask me questions, but they're not quite sure on whether they want to do it or not. They just want to see if there's something that I will say that will say, "Oh, well, I can't do it." Well, you got to drink more water. Oh, I hate water. I'm allergic to water. I've heard it all. So what would you advise that person? What would you tell them?
Well, the first thing, before I would give a particular piece of advice, I would actually ask them, why are you wanting to do this? First of all, why is it that you're wanting to get in shape? Well, why do you want to start this particular exercise program? And more importantly, why this now? Why are you saying this? Is it that your doctor told you that you need to lose some weight, or are you trying to fit into that swimsuit here that's coming spring break? Whatever the factors may be, because that is going to give you a tip-off to actually what your motivations are for even asking the question or coming to you or coming to see me. And then based on that, then I want to find out, well, where does it fit in with their priorities and what their values are?